Credit is not money, it is an invisible current that holds your choices and limits your future. When you believe the bank is offering you an opportunity, it is actually buying pieces of your freedom. Each finance purchase, every new object you celebrate is conquest. Hide a silent contract. You're exchanging days of your tomorrow for a passing desire for today. Stop to reflect. Why, even with salary increases, the feeling of financial squeeze persists. Why does tiredness seem to grow faster than the bank account? The answer is simple but painful. You're feeding the system, not yourself. Your work hours, your energy, and your years are a currency of exchange for immediate satisfaction. Society has taught that small economies have no value, that the important thing is to have everything now beautiful, luxurious, impressive. But this thought is precisely what keeps you in the trap of scarcity. A spare currency teaches patience, self-discipline, and autonomy. A credit teaches dependence, anxiety, and an endless race. Note the euphoria of those who finance a cell phone or a zero car. In the early days, there is pride, display, like a trophy. But behind that smile is the weight of the debt. Each payment reminder is a punch in the stomach. Each bank statement is a recall that you own anything that's hostage. The joy lasts a week. Servitude, years. It may seem absurd, but the real key is just what many despise, the small economy. Who learns to value the little, over time, conquers a lot. Those who ignore the coin of a real in search of great sums always ends up in debt. It is not philosophy, it is a repeated law. As an ancient proverb says, anyone who cannot keep the least will never have the maximum. Do the math. How much of your salary goes on interest every month? How many times have you bought something you couldn't really pay? How many hours of your life have been donated to the bank? The numbers are scarier than they seem, because debt is not just a matter of money, it's a matter of freedom. Credit transforms you into a slave of the future. The conscious economy makes you owner of the present. The difference between those who thrive and who sink is precisely there. Who runs after appearances today buys illusions with installments. Those who save with consistency build something no one can take tomorrow. These are not beautiful words, it is the reality that destroys lives every day. You can continue in this endless race, where the ending is always the same, less autonomy, more ties, where you can stop now and understand that the exit does not start with 1 million, but with a single coin stored. Ask yourself, how long are you willing to be hostage to the installments? How many small economies are you willing to regain your freedom? Or I share blunt truths or show only what works. If you want to hear more about how financial discipline breaks poverty cycles while credit only enriches banks, follow. Want to get rich? Forget the financing. Start with a coin. It seems simple, but it is in the seed that the tree of independence is born. Credit, on the other hand, is poison, dries the roots even before they have a chance to grow. Remember the child who keeps coins in a piggy bank. Every penny that falls makes your eye shine. It's a step towards the dream, a bike, a book, a gift. She still does not understand compound interest, but has learned the essentials. Respect the little. Now look at the adult who finances an expensive cell phone just to look successful. On the first day there is happiness. In the first payment, regret begins. From there, he is no longer owner of anything, he is a debtor. Wealth is always born of the little one. This rule applies to everything: knowledge, skills, money. If you don't know how to take care of a coin, you'll never have a million. If you cannot maintain a single routine, you will never build discipline. This is what makes poverty chronic. People wait for great opportunities and never start with the basics. James Clear talked about the power of small habits. 1% daily progress becomes 1 year into a 37-time result. Now imagine, if you kept only one coin a day, how much would you have a year from now? And in 5? And in 10? Most importantly, what would this do with your character? Saving is not about money, it is in habits. It is training patience, respect for their own efforts. Each time you keep it a little, it strengthens a muscle. Each time it uses credit, cuts this muscle and gets weaker. That's why the rich do not run after instant results. They know how to accumulate, and that is what makes them strong. The poor, in turn, await miracles and indebted to pretend success. But success is not bought. It grows slowly, like a tree. In my family, my grandfather kept small amounts every week. It seemed insignificant until, in the crisis, it was those economies that saved their home. The neighbors, who lived on loans, lost everything. He said, "The spared coin is my shield." It seems little, but it is the one who protects at the time of squeezing. It builds character. Debt destroys it. If today you think this is too little to make a difference, remember, wealth is not enough at once. It grows where there is respect for the little one. Ask yourself, what does a currency represent for you today? Will you be able to keep it or deliver another piece of your future to the bank? Your answer will now define who you will be in a decade. Every time you finance something for status, you are not buying an object, you are buying a facade. He wears the mask of those who succeed, but behind her there are nights unclear, and the question, how will I pay that? The illusion is sweet on the first day, servitude, bitter for the rest of the time. Look around. How many people get into debt by cell phones, cars, or travel? They smile, post photos, display a life they don't have. But between the lines are despair and fear. What if I lose my job? How do I explain to the family that nothing left? The happiness of credit lasts a moment. Slavery, years. He seems to solve a problem, but actually creates another, and that's the most dangerous trap. Anyone who understands wealth knows status is built with time, not with portions. If you can't afford it, it's because it's not within your reach yet. And hopes, because you know that the self-respect is worth more than any purchase. Freedom or not parcel. Respect is not financed. If you can't have something today without getting into debt, you're paying with something much more valuable. Your autonomy. I know a case of someone who funded an expensive car to impress friends. In the first month, there was pride. In the first year, only bitterness with each installment. The car devalued. Freedom, even more so. In the end, he sold it with loss and only paid the debt 5 years later. Result, neither car, no status nor freedom. Daniel Kahneman talked about the traps of fast thought. We decided on emotion, and this is when the banks capture us. But who thinks slowly asks, what will happen in a year? In 5, I won't lose more than winning. Most of the time, the answer is hard. Yes, it will be. Credit gives the illusion of victory, but in practice bets on you. The choice is yours. To continue in the cycle, or understand that true security begins when you stop due and start to have, even if it's just one coin at a time. The credit does not only stamp your bank account, he stamps you as a slave. A volunteer slave, but no less chained for it. Jewish wisdom teaches, better a modest table that is yours than a banquet of others. Better to live with simplicity and freedom than to display a paid luxury, not with your sweat but with the years you haven't lived yet. Ask yourself an honest question. How many things in your life have been bought to impress others? And how much freedom did you change for them? If, instead of financing status, you had saved, where would you be? That is why the second truth is clear. Abandon illusions. Status bought on credit is slavery. The true wealth is born of patience. The crisis always arrives without warning. No one hopes to find her tomorrow morning, but she is always lurking, hidden at the next corner. And it is at this moment that it is revealed who lived with loans and who gathered, even little, but yours. You have seen this happen. In difficult times, some collapse, panic takes over, debts grow like a snowball, and with them comes the feeling of impotence. Others, however, continue at peace, not because they are rich, but because they have a reserve, even small, and it is this reserve that makes them unbreakable. Credit breaks you in the crisis. The saved currency saves. I remember a family, husband and wife with modest jobs, but every month they kept a little. The neighbors laughed. Why save these exchanges? They will never give to a house or a car. But when the crisis arrived and the neighbors sank into debt, it was this family that not only survived but could extend their hand to others. Their coins turned into foundations. This is antifragility, the concept that NASSANTALYP describes how the ability to get stronger after the blows. But for this it takes one thing, safety margin. Credit makes you fragile. Any drop in income destroys you. The spared currency makes it antifragile. The crisis may hit, but instead of ruining, it strengthens. If you don't have a reserve, the crisis will always own your life. Think about what happens when you assume a debt. It depends on perfect conditions. Everything needs to work, or the castle collapses. But life is never a perfect plan. A disease, a resignation, a drop in the market, and its beautiful life on credit becomes a nightmare. Now imagine the opposite. You have a reserve, even small, in the crisis. Do not run after a new loan. Use what is yours, and at that moment you feel real freedom, because it depends on yourself, not the bank. Jewish wisdom says, those who come together gradually build a stone house, stone by stone, coin by coin, until it has a wall that protects it. The poor always seeks where to borrow. The rich always seeks where to keep. This difference decides who falls into the crisis and who comes out stronger. If you want freedom, start with a little one. Do not expect millions. Start with a coin, because it is she who transforms the crisis of a catastrophe into a test that makes it stronger. The third truth is this: antifragility is not built with debt, but with the currency spared. She is what remains when everything else collapses. The per life for today. The rich build horizons for decades. In this simple but relentless truth is the line that separates those with debt and who leaves a legacy. Each credit is one less for the next generations. Each money spared is one more. Reflect, what does who buy something on credit? It pulls the future to the present, exchanging the freedom of the years that will come for immediate pleasure. And what do you do who saves? It invests today and tomorrow, making it more solid than the present. I know a story in our community. A friend told about her grandfather, a simple shoemaker who lived with modesty, but every week she kept a little not for ostentation, not for status, but for the future. He could not afford to be expensive, but years later his small economies that allowed their children to build a home, pay their studies, and start life without debt. His grandchildren remembered, our grandfather didn't leave us wealth. He left us a habit, and that habit made us rich. Wealth is not an amount. Wealth is the habit of living with Horizon. As SALONSLN cat. What matters is not the quick result, but the lasting sense. Who lives for instant joy always loses. Who knows how to wait always wins in finances, family, fate. The problem of the poor is not to gain little. It is thinking of weeks, at most months. The problem of rich in quotes is to think of years, sometimes in generations. That is why wealth multiplies. It works by the compound effect. A small effort repeated times without realizing it into something huge. Time is the most powerful interest rates that exists. He works in favor or against you. Jewish wisdom teaches, whoever keeps the coin today keeps the bread of tomorrow. There is the difference in mindset. The poor buy pleasure, the rich buy time. Ask yourself, what do you spend for today's status or by the strength of tomorrow? Every credit you assume steals years of your future. Each currency you save you back. The fourth truth is simple. Wealth is not suddenly enough. It is built currency by currency, habit by habit, generation after generation. You are not poor because you earn little. You are poor because you think of credits. This is the hardest truth that most refuse to hear, but it is the one who defines everything. Credit promises ease, but makes life heavier. Promises freedom, but ties new shackles. Promises joy, but leaves anxiety. Already the currency spared silent, almost invisible gives what credit can never offer, freedom. She teaches discipline, builds resilience, transforms poverty into abundance. Every time you say no problem, and a financing is voluntarily signing a servitude contract. Every currency you keep is a freedom contract. You can deny it. You can laugh at this. You can say that everyone lies like that. But the result is always the same. Who depends on credits remains poor. Who honors the currency becomes the owner of their own destiny. Look around. The rich do not spend on status. They spend on horizon. They understand that money is a time tool. The poor think of how to spend the month. The rich think about what they will leave 10 years from now. This difference decides who has a future and who has only debts. Remember your own debts. How many times have you bought something to rejoice and then regret? How many times has happiness lasted one day, but the concern has extended for years? Now imagine the reverse. If you had kept at least part of that money, where would you be today? How firmer would you be on your feet? Truth is simple. Wealth is not what you have in the account. It's how you treat the currency. Can you keep it? Can you respect her? Or spend as if tomorrow did not exist? A Jewish wise said, who knows how to take care of the little, he will be entrusted a lot. This rule applies not only to money, but to character, relationships, life. If you don't know how to honor the small currency, how can you build something big? If you do not learn to value the small currency, you will never keep the big one. Wealth is not a sum in the extract, it is a habit in everyday life. As long as you think of credits as a solution, your life will be a chain. But when you see the power of the small coin, the chains break. The choice is yours, slavery or freedom, illusion or reality, debt or discipline. If you do not start saving today, tomorrow will work bent to pay interest of others. It's not a threat, it's math. Each postponement day becomes a new debt. Each wasted coin turns into another link in the collar. But there is a way out, and it is simple. You don't need fortunes to start. Just a coin, a gesture, a decision. I choose freedom. Do this today. Refuse an unnecessary purchase. Was going to get that coffee in a hurry. Say, today I take it at home. Did you think of asking for food for convenience? Decide, today cook. These are details, but it is in the details that a new life is built. Save at least 1% of what you earn. It may seem ridiculous, a drop in the ocean, but this drop is more powerful than any loan because it is yours, because it works for you, not to the bank. Say no to at least one credit boost. Stop and ask, I really want that, or do I want to be free? At this point, you don't just change a purchase, it changes a destination. Write down your goal. What are you keeping? For quiet sleep. Buy home, not to bow their heads to any manager. Read and reread. This goal will be your compass. It may think it is little, but this is how the strength is born. Wealth does not sprout from millions, arises from the coin that becomes a habit. The habit shapes character, and character writes the story. You are not poor, you just forgot the power of the small coin. You can rescue you today, and tomorrow will be different. Remember, each credit is a step towards servitude, each currency spared, one step towards freedom. When choosing the discipline, you choose life.